Hey, hello, superhero friends, and welcome to the chat all about multiverses. You may hear Space 1999 in the background, actually. That is fitting. Hold on, let me grab the the comic books we are reading tonight. So I hope you guys are doing well. So we're going to do a fun little deep dive tonight. I have a few comic books we're going to look at, and it's actually not going to just be exclusively DC, so I hope you're doing all right. Hello. Grant Munden, Takaveo, Jim Masters, Emma Lulu, Jing Dong. Hi. Okay, so if you're not familiar, I typically read comic books on this live stream, and if you joined earlier, I did a little collab with DJ Nightwing. So it was kind of like a fun little way to show how those different universes collide, right? And like the concept of like a multiverse and all of that kind of stuff. So the very first comic book I read you guys live on Tik Tok live broadcast was Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I'm not going to read through all of this tonight. This is only going to be like a topic that's going to anchor the themes of multiverses. So I'm just going to read a little bit about so the art's really nice as well. I was having some conversations with a girlfriend of mine who borrowed this book, and she was like, I'm not the biggest fan of the illustration in it, but I'm like, you know what, I like it. And I especially like Crisis because of its way of illustrating different worlds, right? Jonathan, thank you for the likes. And hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. I am a version of Kara Zor-El, Supergirl. And so Crisis on Infinite Earths, this is a compilation of the comic book that was released in 1985. Actually, I'm going to read you guys. I'm going to speak factually to you so I can repost this appropriately. And if you want to join the Cosmic Comic Book Club, I'm going to have some like analysis on comic books, like a reading list and that kind of stuff for us to like look at them no different than you would look at Shakespeare or other little great works of art. Not little, I mean, they're epics, but you come on. Crisis is an epic. So Crisis on Infinite Earths. So there's different parts, right? But I'm going to read just a summary of it, just because I'm not going to do a full read of it tonight. This is more a conversation about multiverses as a whole, and not just DC's. We're going to look at Marvel a little bit as well, because tomorrow I will be back as Phoenix, the Phoenix, as well as Jean Grey. A little conversation between those two, right? Because the Phoenix is I'm not gonna, spoiler alert, the concept of a cosmic entity, right? And what does it mean to be working with essences and embodiments of forces such as that? Okay, so Crisis on Infinite Earths is a 1985 to 1986 American comic book crossover series published by DC Comics. It was written by Marv Wolfman and penciled by George Perez. It was first released as a 12-issue limited series from April 1985, so I was born 1985 as well. Hey, Jonathan, me too, my born year too. So there's something to be said about certain stories that come to life, right? And so you are the magic that brings stories and characters to life. And Supergirl died in Crisis on Infinite Earths. She makes a sacrifice willingly so that the multiverse may live, right? And so we all benefit from Supergirl's sacrifice in the story. You're born 1991. Hey, you're still Pluto in Scorpio. If you were born between 1983, 84 till about 1993, you were born with Pluto in Scorpio. And I was born in 1985, so made in the 80s. But I think that I have a few girlfriends of mine who were born 1992, 1993, and I feel like it's like your souls are like a flock of birds. It's like you kind of have a certain generational vibe with each other. And I vibe more with my Pluto and Scorpio crew versus them saying I'm a millennial. Because I'm like, what? I'm not a millennial. I know what it was like to have life before like the overtaking of tech and digital, even though my dad was a prof in computer science, so I grew up with a lot of technology, and but tech from like a very like back end perspective, right? This I'm also Indigenous. Oh yes, First Nation Métis. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, so I had a few girlfriends of mine who were Native growing up as well. Also too, I have a very strong connection to the prairie land. I really, really miss it. Oh, very cool. Your dad was a computer process engineer. Oh, Jonathan, that's very cool. So you know what I was actually reading up on? So my dad and I used to have... My dad's wonderful, right? When I was cosplaying as a Batgirl, and this is why I'm also a Supergirl, right? Because Supergirl and Batgirl are actually pretty good friends. And Supergirl, of course, has like superpowers and Batgirl does not. And Supergirl loves to pump Batgirl up and say, like, you know, just because you don't have powers, it doesn't make you like not a hero, or like not as good as a hero as me. Like, it's all about like pushing through whatever is like whatever you're meant to. And for example, like Supergirl and Superman, they're both very vulnerable to magic, so they need to lean on other characters like Zatanna and Constantine for certain enemies that deal with those kinds of things. But going back to computers and technology and math being a divination language, me and my dad used to have like fun conversations, because I was a very inquisitive child. I still am, and my dad was probably the best teacher I ever got to have. So he was really great at explaining math concepts in a way that like made sense, like algebra. Like, it makes sense. You're balancing an equation, or trig. Anyways, the Pythagorean theorem, I hope I'm saying that right, is what you use in trigonometry, right? And back in the day, Pythagoras had like this divination cult where there's a whole bunch of stuff about it. One of them being that they didn't like democracy, but the other thing was that working with numbers is a way of connecting to the divine, right? And I just was like reminded, because I have this Flash comic book I'm going to share with you guys as well, because Flash makes a big sacrifice in this, and I wanted to do a read with you guys that has to do with multiverses. And this Flash comic book is written by the same author of this Multiversity comic book, and it's a trippy... We have to read it together. So that's going to be the special read for tonight. I'm going to read you a Flash comic book as Supergirl. But it's because it deals with the themes of multiverses. So just drop in the chat, like in terms of like a multiverse, what do you... It's like defining your terms, right? So like when we say, like when I was talking to my friend Aria, and we're going to go live on Wednesday, we were talking like astral traveling, right? Or lucid dreaming. And I'm like, okay, like, explain to me what you mean by that, right? Because I think I have a very different viewpoint of that kind of thing. And when we think about like the dreamscape, the etheric realm, these imagination realms, that's why storytelling is so important, to get the nuance so that you can really see what the other person means. Just takes time, right? And nuance as to how we communicate. And sometimes we strive to say something and we fall short of finding the right word at the right time, and it'll come to you later, but the moment has passed. So lucid dreaming is very interesting, right? Like the awareness in the dream. Yeah. You're a big Spider-Man fan. Oh, First Nation mate. Yeah, I could see that, because Spider-Man, I actually have the Spider-Verse as well to look at as well, because you have Spider-Man Noir, T-Rex Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, and in this they also have Black Cat Felicia Hardy as a version of Spider-Man as well. And there's some fun dialogues here where Spider-Man talks to you, like, breaks the fourth wall, right? And he's like, am I just talking to myself in my head, or like am I imagining that I'm in a comic book and you can like see my thought bubbles? And that's actually something that's in Multiversity as well. So it's like comic books are a 3D way, a 3D symbol, let's put it that way, a 3D symbol of conceptualizing what it's like to be in reality. Right? So Alan Moore, oh my gosh, my hair is in my face right now. Hold on, oh my gosh. That's the thing about blonde hair. You can't actually see it, but I'm like, but you can feel it. And I feel like there's a lesson in there about something. Oh my goodness, my fave TikToker. That's very sweet, Cody. Thanks for that. Interesting stuff, Jem. I'm just riffing off right now, and just about multiverses in general, because I've found Hollywood, a lot of the movies these days have come up with multiverses, right? So drop in the chat what is your favorite multiverse artwork? So like, I like Crisis, but another multiverse I really like is Terminator, and the whole Terminator series, right? Alan Moore, my creator, PCJP. I really would want to speak to Alan Moore in person. You know, I want to, because I finished Promethea, right? And you know what? Let me tell you a story about Promethea, because let's do that. Because Promethea, there's actually a crossover. There's a DC and Promethea crossover comic book, I think, where you deal with the Queen of Fables that goes up against Promethea. So where Promethea is like the power of all imagination, the Queen of Fables is like all evil in story. So that's an interesting matchup. But oh, hey, Chief Boy, I'm good. How are you doing? We're going to talk about multiverses tonight, and so we're going to do a couple of comic book reads, little snippets as a way of like analyzing multiverses as a whole, kind of like I'm your cosmic teacher this evening, Kara Zor-El, because how should I put this? In 1985, April of 1985, Supergirl died, right? And at that time, I came into life, right? Oh my gosh, Sarah, hey, thanks for that crane. I love the cranes because remember 1,000 paper cranes and you get a wish. So I try to do like some origami every day because I like being tactile with my hands, like drawing, origami, or any types of these. That's like a type of meditation. You guys have to figure out for yourself. You don't have to do anything, actually. Like I find it's nice to find different practices that are tactile for me, especially being a Taurus, and that helps to, you know, go into a meditative state and work through like anxiety or anything like that. You can tell I would care. I do care if you're sad. I'm that friend. I'm old school too, guys. Like 1985, I have memories of, you know, summers without social media. And I had social media before anyone else did because my dad was a prof in computer science. We had the internet and computers in my household like in the early 90s. And so I had like websites on GeoCities. We had Netscape Navigator. I used to use like this was like the wild west of the internet when things were really cool back then. Whose son is, oh my gosh, ICQ, yes, MSN Messenger, where you'd like log in and out multiple times and have like different song lyrics. And I try to make it so that my crush would message me first, all of those kinds of things. So let's see here. Practicing mindfulness while folding origami, totally, right? So think about it, bringing things into form, drawing itself too, I find very meditative, because think about it, you know, I was reading a quote by Carl Jung the other day about there is no coming to consciousness without pain, right? And people will do anything to avoid looking at their own soul. And coming to enlightenment is not this process of like just looking at the light, but rather taking the shadows and bringing it to light, being aware of like things in ourselves that need to be looked at, and not to like bring shame to it or like point the finger at it or laugh at it, but just to accept those parts of ourselves and realize they're quite beautiful, right? I did have dial-up internet and Napster. Oh yes. And I was lucky enough because my mom is Filipino, right? And so Filipino moms like talk on the phone with their auntie. It's like there's like everybody from like back home for like literally, you know, those calling cards back in the day, and then just be on the phone for like hours talking in Tagalog. You know, the Ewok speech, that's Tagalog, right? So it's like Filipino speech. I love teasing my mom about that. But anyways, we had a separate line for our dial-up internet because, you know, it makes that noise kind of thing. So luckily enough, I never had to share the line. We had a separate line for our internet. You were reading Carl Jung's Red Book. Oh, that's a tough read because it's very fantastical, right? I love Carl Jung because it's very fantastical, right? I love Carl Jung. Carl Jung and C.S. Lewis and Tolkien, they do a wonderful job of taking symbolism and like encoding things into breadcrumbs for us as human beings, right? Because I hope you one day find my welcoming area. Things, I'm working on a few things at the moment when it comes to creative process. It's taken a little while to actually wait, I went on a tangent about Promethea. Okay. So I'm working on my own comic book. The comic book is only one piece of a saga. Now, the saga that I'm creating, the story I'm creating, is actually based on my friends and me being superheroes from ancient Atlantis, archetypes, who are saving the universe from, lower, lesser vibrational forces of evil, right? And not necessarily shadow or darkness, because there is a place for shadow and darkness in the cycle of things. It's more about like parasitic energy, or things like Dracula is a good, because I studied Bram Stoker's Dracula in school, right? This idea of the darker parts of our nature, that's where things can hide. So if we choose not to look at things and go like, well, I could never do something evil like that, or I could never do this, it might be a matter of like, take on the thought experiment and try on maybe the idea that I am capable of that, so that you aren't blindsided when you get, grief hits you, or like jealousy hits you, or these other like lower like anger or rage, right? It's okay. Like, that's why when we talk about the lanterns, like the red lanterns are not like evil, right? But they have this bad rap because it's like this concept of being angry and having that like your blood boil, and that like for some people you need to acknowledge that, right? Actually, for all people, you need to acknowledge all of your emotions, but that doesn't mean necessarily going out and hurting other people. That means just acknowledging it, realizing that you're feeling a certain way, asking yourself why you feel that way, right? Wishing me lactose intolerance in 2025. I try not to drink milk, actually, to be honest. He might see it. Oh, that would be cool. That would be very cool. Hey, Spider Carnage. Okay, so my story about Promethea, we're going to talk about multiverses. I'm going to go into the read of Flash, because I'm not going to be on super, super late. We're going to do, I'm going to try my subscribers only thing to do a Promethea read at the end, just because it's spicy. Have I heard of Herb? ERB? Oh, sorry, you're very sweet. That's very sweet. I got all my intel from comic books. Well, that's not true. That's not true. I went to school for English literature and psychology, which, aka unemployment degree, and I ended up being a project manager instead and personal trainer. So it all kind of comes back around to itself. And Carl Jung did say to put everything down in a book, because it's really about your like life story and the concept of archetypes and us embodying certain roles, and like the theater. Like I went to school and took musical theater, and so this idea of acting out the story and like being lucid in this shared consensus reality dream and being like, aha, this is where I am in the story, right? So scares, sorry, let's see here. Epic rap battles of history. Herb. Oh, nice. I love rap battles, actually. What do my bad dreams entail? You know what? I haven't had bad dreams lately. Sarek, that's very sweet. You know what, though? I read a lot of books. I was a very nerdy kid growing up, and I love the library, and that's where me and Barbara Gordon Babs get along. It's like that whole like library thing. I love the library because when reality got really tough, you could always escape into a world, right? Make friends with these characters who I've built up in my head, like the hero that you get to embody. Well, I'd be at WonderCon. I will try, J-Car. I'm trying to work my favorite rap battle, Spider Carnage. I haven't listened to rap in a long time. I gotta be honest with you. But you know what? Not so much battles, but I miss... This is kind of lame, but I miss, you know, like back in the 90s, they used to have like just like a rap bridge, and it was such a cheesy rap, but it would be like wholesome and like, yo, 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 yippee, yo, yippee, yeah, we got this on the back. I'm not a rapper, please don't quote that and don't post that again, but but it just being the poetry behind everything. I do miss VHS and Blockbuster. Yeah. Actually, I grew up in Winnipeg, right, as I told you guys. And in my little neighborhood, we actually had like a little video store at the end of the block. And so you could rent N64 video games for like toonies, and you get those 5-cent candies. It was legitimately the best thing ever. I mean, my sister would like walk over, you like rent a bunch of N64 games and then take it home for the weekend. So I used to get like, we owned GoldenEye, and me and my sister were super nerdy. We had video games as like a big part of our social life. Even like with friends. And so the idea of online gaming to me is so weird to me. Like Halo, for example, I think Halo 5 doesn't have a campaign co-op. I'm like, oh my gosh, the most fun thing is to play a campaign with a friend. So you get to play that story together. It's like reading a story together kind of thing. Oh yeah, Diddy Kong, that was fun. I miss 1-cent candies. Right? You can't get anything for like cents anymore. But you felt like it was awesome. You like could pick like, you know, like the root beer ones and like the sour keys. They're bomb. Stop bringing up the past. Words on cups. Well, I gotta keep it alive. And that brings me back to, this is actually a great segue into the quick read for tonight, my superhero friends. So, Supergirl died in 1985, and Marv Wolfman talks about here, there's a foreword. So it's interesting too, because Marv Wolfman and George Perez are actually also the creators of Nightwing, Dick Grayson's Nightwing, not Dick Grayson as Robin. And fun fact as well, there's actually a comic book where Supergirl and Nightwing go out on a date, but it's told from the perspective of Batman and Superman. And it's really funny because the date doesn't go well. Actually, I ate so many candies. Old Sour. Oh yeah, Old Sour. And a big thing in Winnipeg too is like freezies, right? Because I was on my junior high basketball team, and a big tradition of my coach would be after every game we'd like go and get Slurpees from 7-Eleven, right? And then you get like brain freeze if you like drank them too fast. Yeah, MC Hill. Yes, we're talking about Mr. Jumbo freezes. Yes, and if you get the blue one, because of course, whose favorite was the blue one, right? I love that. Oh, this is all off the top of my head. I'm in my flow. I wish I could rap. That'd be kind of fun. I think. You know what though? I did acting classes, like Prairie Theater Exchange, as well as I used to like read in church and stuff. Like public speaking, all of that kind of stuff is and I was really shy growing up, you guys. So getting over my stage fright and fear has been it's been a thing for me. So if you've ever felt like awkward and like everyone's judging me, I welcome you just to keep practicing. And cosplay has been really healing for me in that regard, because through me putting on these characters, especially Supergirl, which I'm going to get into why I love her so much as well, is like you get to see, like, you're the magic in the story, right? Your favorite stories are your favorite stories, and your favorite characters are yours, and your what they mean to you is yours. So how you choose to bring them to life in your imagination belongs to you. It doesn't belong to Hollywood or James Gunn or any of these directors. They are more than welcome to bring forth their perspective, right? But it's up to you as the sovereign creator being of your own reality, whether or not you want to take that into your own world, right? Because, like, for example, like, I don't need to take on every version of Supergirl as my Supergirl, even though, like, I can appreciate different versions, right? Especially in Crisis, we talk about the fact that you have infinite Earths, and Marv talks about how, let me just make sure, talk of overcoming fear. Oh yes, Soul Train, that it's I took a university because I had to give speeches. Oh, you're very sweet. So you know what, you guys, it's Gabriel III. Hey, overcoming fear is always one of those things, like, easier said than done. But I'll put it this way. If you've ever been anyone who's stepped on stage before, so I've stepped on stage for a number of reasons. One being for fitness competitions, bikini competitions, competing in those kinds of shows. I went to, like, Vegas, and I competed in nationals back in 2016. I went to Winnipeg in nationals, and I placed, like, in top 10 in bikini. And then my retirement show was in 2017. So I had competed for, like, a long time. I did, like, fitness modeling, all that kind of stuff. And I still work out, like, even though I don't compete in shows anymore. But the shows, you have to know fear in order. You got it, Sarah. It's not about not being afraid. It's about, like, feeling it. And I love the Bene Gesserit litany against fear, because they speak in it about allow the fear to wash over you and through you, right? So I like to envision almost like this big wave crashing over you, and you stand there, like, super strong, and you let it just wash over you. And not only do you not fear it anymore, you actually, like, ride it like a dragon. So the way I kind of put it is this, is like, before going on stage, there's this, like, before you step out behind the curtain, there's this, like, I always get this feeling of, like, me and my hubby have talked about this because he's bodybuilded as well and stepped on stage. And before you're about to, like, step out and, like, ta-da, it's like your heart's, like, in your throat, and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's like, I'm scared, but it's thrilling too at the same time. And, like, that vibe. And then when you step on stage, it's like everything goes quiet, and, like, you're in that spotlight, and there's nothing like that in the entire world. And even better when you are on stage with a lot of your friends doing a dance performance, let's say, that you've worked on, and, you know, to, like, do it and perform it, and it all goes according to plan, and, like, the applause, and it's just like you love the audience and the audience loves you back, and there's nothing like that in the world. And I think what's important is for each of you guys to realize what gives you joy in life. And for me, it's been that, like, the performance, the art, all of that, the drama, the dance, and relationships, and just focusing on what in your world makes sense for you. Oh yeah, yes. Did I ever go to the old spaghetti factory? You know what? Not as often as I was more of, like, a Olive Garden kind of person. Let's see here. You know, you gave a 30-minute speech about hockey. Wow. You know what, though? Hey, Doug. Here's Demo. There's two levels to what you're saying, right? There's an ability to be able to formulate a speech and a cohesive argument, and to be able to speak. That's a certain skill level. And then there's, like, when I'm talking to you guys, for example, when you're talking about a topic that you know the recipient of that topic, it's like an Ouroboros, right? Where, like, you can feel the reception back. It's a different thing when it's, like, an assignment, for example, or even when I used to, like, read in church, you know, like, I'm, like, reading out, and it's like, I can tell people are not listening. You're clearly, like, sleeping or, like, daydreaming about, like, where else you want to be right now and all that kind of stuff. So, but regardless of that, there's still a level of practice in orating, right? And speaking with, like, using your throat chakra and, like, your vocal cords, and being able to have that release. The proverbial proverbial hump is very scary. Oh yeah. You know, because when I first started reading comic books to you guys, and I started with Crisis, I was delivered some humble pie, right? Because reading comics is not the same as reading any other kind of medium. Alan Moore has said this, that the comic book medium is sublime. It's kind of like hieroglyphics, right? That's the layers of meaning encoded in each panel is superb. Like, for example, I'll just take any panel here for once. This is Pariah. I can't stand Pariah. I'm not going to get into the whole plot of Crisis beyond multiverses, but this will be a nice segue. But you see all these different panels, like some comic books, right? This is Supergirl, right? She's going off to like do her thing. This is a job for Supergirl. And then of course you have like this fun panel here that's like a square. So you'd read these and then you would come here. But like each page, each panel has this, each box in a different order. And I've read to you guys sometimes the incorrect order where, let's say it's meant to go this way, but I go like this way, and I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't making any sense. Or it kind of is, but I'm jumping ahead. So it's like, but is that wrong? There's no wrong way to like intake art. And I was always been one of those people who like, I don't really care about spoilers. On some regard, I actually like spoilers because it makes me feel omniscient because I know what's going to happen. I'm like, oh, I know what's going to happen in this story. But even when I know the spoiler, it's still so exciting for me experiencing it in the moment. Like, I can watch the same movie 5 million different times, but it'll come to the same point. So, for example, but the characters don't. But maybe someone wants to hear it. Yeah. And thanks, Sarek. Maybe someone wants to hear what you have to say, or exactly, Dino. You have no idea. Like, I was talking to my friend the other day about how much music has been important to me, like comic books and stories as well, but music along with it, right? So think about like the soundtrack to any kind of story. Even the Superman theme is iconic. You hear it and you're like, I should play it, but it brings a resonance with you, a memory encoded with it. Same thing with like smell or anything like that. So I think it's a matter of realizing all of those things that provide resonance in you so that you give yourself almost like mental bookmark, and it gives you some perspective when you feel lost in the world, right? And there's so many distractions in the world today, right? Like we've got like the news doing its thing and all this like the world and like politics and everything. It seems so frivolous, right? To concentrate on things like superheroes and comic books and video games and like art, pop art, and like, but does it give you joy? Does it inspire you? Does it give you a different perspective by which you want to live your life and conduct yourself in the world? And I think if it gives you that perspective, it's still working on yourself, because like to quote Shakespeare, like to know thyself is important. And then once you know yourself, to thine own self be true, right? Whomever that is. Oh yeah, anchors. Yes, and anchoring, I think of like anchoring in time space. Like Lois Lane was a news anchor, April O'Neil was a news anchor, and I love them both. And so I first moved out to here. I give joy to, oh, thank you. I love that. It's funny. My auntie, I had an auntie named Joy, and she's passed already, but this idea of joy and bliss and happiness and like laughing so much until your stomach hurts with your friends and like inside jokes, right? Like for example, me and my friend Laura, we used to have movies that we would watch. Like she loved Chris Farley, so like Beverly Hills Ninja, Tommy Boy. What's the other movie? She used to love watching these movies, and I'd watch them with her. But then as a result, we had these inside jokes with each other because of the movies we watched. And so the same thing goes with like these different comic books and these different universes, is that by reading the stories, we all get a download of intel of like the language glossary of this world. So I don't have, if you know who Supergirl is, you know who Kara is, I don't have to go into this whole like backstory of everything to know the meaning of it. And going back to why Marv Wolfman, he has this foreword in Crisis where he speaks about why they decided to kill Supergirl. It was an ultimate sacrifice. It was meant to be, ultimately, they wanted to have it so that Superman was the sole survivor of Krypton, right? So this concept of a planet being destroyed, and as a result, you have this one sole survivor who is a savior, like the whole mythos behind it, because I think the way they were saying it is like all the different universes just getting out of control, so they needed to like clean everything up. So my favorite character in Role Model growing up was Captain America. Oh, I love Captain America. Me too. There's something about, you having the courage to make the tough choices, right? And also this concept of knowing what it's like to be weak or in a position of being hurt, and so that you build yourself back up to be strong, right? Like I think Bruce Lee, you look at his story too, like, you get beaten up or like something happens to you and you're like, you know what? I am going to build myself up. Like no one's born a certain way. You have certain like codes and like building blocks, but I like to put it this way, like a sword, like a katana or any like beautiful weapon like that. It could be made with like the most finest material, but it still needs to be honed, right? It still needs to like go in that fire and like be beat, and like, you know what? All of that kind of hurts sometimes. And even though you have like the talent, it still takes practice, right? All this stuff still takes practice and work. And sometimes it can feel like, am I going in the right direction? You can feel frustrated. You're like, why? And so when you have those moments, it's a good thing, I find, to have your own mystical, magical, personal practices by ways you are able to talk to yourself, right? So I imagine, think of all the cells in your body, right? Think about your heart and your foot and your liver and all this kind of stuff. Can you imagine if your like liver was like, I don't want to be your liver. I want to be your heart. But you're the liver, and if the liver started doing heart things, then we'd have a problem, because everyone needs, like, each cell is to do what they're doing, but they're not, your liver is not separate from you, right? But that liver is also attached or connected to all the archetype of a liver, right? It's all to say is like the concept of like, oh, I am the drop in the ocean, but I'm the all, but I'm also me. And in like comic books as well, right? Supergirl herself in the multiverse, there's Linda Lee, there's Kara Danvers, there's the Supergirl with like the white shirt, there's a Supergirl from the 30th century with the Brainiac, who's actually like a good Brainiac, from Earth 2. And so these all coexist, and I like to relate this to like mythology, right? So for example, Venus has Venus, Eros, and a lot of the gods and goddesses have different versions of tales or different versions of myths. That doesn't make any version untrue, right? It makes them all true. It just, I think, matters what version resonates with you and how you're able to piece that story with other stories that inform your inner world, right? Oh yeah, Power Girl as well. I love Power Girl. I'm working on a cosplay of her too. She's kind of crazy though, right? And I think Power Girl and Supergirl, so Krypton is cool too. I've looked some stuff into Krypton because Krypton has its own mythology, and Kara, she just says Kara. Kara is named after a goddess in Kryptonian mythology who is the equivalent to Aphrodite or Venus, which is the goddess of love and beauty. So that's kind of cool. Fun fact of Krypton. And what I told you guys before as well, that Nightwing is the name of an old Kryptonian dragon god who is the sun god in Krypton is Ra, a red sun. And fun fact, right? Like Kryptonians don't have superpowers on Krypton because their red sun doesn't give them the power that their cells need to express the superpowers. Instead, their power comes specifically from the radiation from a yellow star. So there's a tell to that. I don't know exactly what, but I love to put that in a little like note of like, there's something special about our star, our sun, and how we as human beings are related to that sun. Because especially in astrology, your sun, your birthday is not necessarily like you're only born once, to quote Prince. But when you have your solar return, the sun returns to the point of which you're born. But you have all the other luminaries and planets also dancing in the sky with you. So those alignments give you clues to me about like your very special position and role in the grand opera of life, right? Maybe we go to the Krypton and the red sun makes us super. That's an interesting concept, Sarlik. I'm going to open you guys up to my theory about it. So Superman and Supergirl, Krypton itself, was created by two individuals, Gary Siegel and Joe Shuster. And this is really cool for me because I'm in Toronto and Joe Shuster is actually from Toronto. One of my friends, he actually lives on Joe Shuster Way, and so it's always a trip for me when I visit. I'm like, oh my gosh, like my creator, Supergirl, right? So it's funny. Marv Wolfman talks about how in Crisis they had to get permission to kill Supergirl because she's a beloved character, and she did come back, right? And she's not the only one who passed. And like there's this idea of like me telling you the story about Supergirl and the sacrifice she made in the 80s is so that, you know, what is resurrection? What is rebirth? This idea that these characters never truly die. Like Superman has died, but they can come back. And it's like this idea of also like, what storyline are we talking about? And where are we in time space? And where are you in your own time space of story, and how does that interact with whatever mythology is bringing its own intel to you at the time, right? I never knew it was from Toronto. I thought they were both from Cleveland. No, Joe Shuster's Canadian. We used to have that, I don't know if any of my Canadian friends know about it, like the Canadian Heritage moments on like TV, where it would be like, oh, Canadian made basketball. This is a Canadian heritage moment. That kind of thing. Every universe has its own version. Oh, yes. But that's the thing. There are still rules to the universe. So after the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths, I actually found a thing. Let's see here. DC Crisis synopsis. Let's see. Dark Crisis. Every crisis in chronological order explained. Okay, perfect. So we have Crisis on Earth 1, the JLA and JSA first meet, and then Crisis on Earth 3, 1964. Oh, there's lots of crises before. So Crisis on Infinite Earths in 1985, the DC universe is reborn. In 1985, DC Comics wanted to do something special to celebrate its 50th anniversary. They hired New Teens Titans creators Mark Wolfman and George Perez to create a year-long epic. It's funny too because Watchmen was also 1985. Kind of funny, right? Yes, basketball was invented in Canada. So, you know, like all of those fun moments, that's how I know Joe Shuster created Superman, because they're this fun little, I'll find it and I'll repost it for you guys because it's very wholesome and it's cute. This became the 12-part Crisis on Infinite Earths. Out of all the Crises titles, this one had the greatest effect, with the deaths of Silver Age heroes like Supergirl and Barry Allen's Flash. Additionally, it caused other titles to completely reboot their heroes' histories. In the end, Crisis on Infinite Earths became the standard bearer for the other line-wide events. So it set the standard for all those other crossover kinds of events. I have not watched the cartoon versions yet. My sister's more well-versed with the cartoon versions, but I do have a plan to watch them. So, because I love animation, because animation does a great job of like being pretty true to the comic book, because like literally these are storyboards for just being moving pictures, right? So let's see here. Let's see if I can link Crisis to Multiversity. Because Multiversity, for some strange reason, so Multiversity is another crossover event, and it takes place, this was written by Grant Morrison, and it was in 2014. I thought this was the 90s, but I was like, oh my gosh, it's actually not as old as I thought. But before that, we have 0 Hour Crisis in Time. The DC Universe gets a soft reboot. So a decade after Crisis on Infinite Earth, there are still unaddressed continuity issues. No duh. Some of these were left over from the pre-crisis universe, as well as other problems that developed over the years. To correct this, then Superman writer and artist Dan Jurgens and inker Jerry Ordway were brought to softly reboot the DC universe. The result became 0 Hour, A Crisis in Time, a 5-issue miniseries numbered backward. Interesting. The villains of the event, Extant, Parallax. Oh, Parallax. This is about like Hal Jordan when he's Parallax. Oh, I don't know if I like that one so much. Identity Crisis 2004. Dark secrets are revealed that could change everything. Oh, wow. Dark Pull, Infinite Crisis 2005. Heroes of Crisis on Infinite Earth go rogue. Okay. The 7-issue miniseries features the return of Alex Luthor. Oh yeah, Alex Luthor was in Crisis. Earth 2 Superman. Oh yes. And Earth Prime Superboy. Eventually this group ends up restoring the multiverse. Oh, okay. In doing so, current Superboy Connor Kent is killed, and Superboy Prime becomes evil. Due to what they encountered in Infinite Crisis, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman take a year-long leave of absence from superheroing. Oh, interesting. I didn't even know about this. I need to find this. Infinite Crisis. That's the next thing on the list. Identity Crisis is really dark and not good. Okay, because it doesn't seem like that Identity Crisis one, JWT, it doesn't seem like that one, like, fits everything else. I don't know if I like, it looks dark, just judging from what I'm looking here. I just have, like, a synopsis of, like, all of the different Crises storylines as a way of kind of connecting what happened in 1985 when they, like, basically cleaned up all of the multiverses, right? So that you'd have one Superman, one Batman, one Wonder Woman, one origin story that was canon, and then they rebooted the multiverse so that you had more rules around, I suppose, the edges and how these different universes interacted with each other, right? Put on trial. Oh, yeah. Let's see here. Okay. So Final Crisis, 2008, Darkseid obtains the anti-life equation. Oh, yeah, I was doing some research on the anti-life equation and the life equation. So the 2008 Final Crisis event is more than its 7-issue miniseries by writer Grant Morrison. Okay, so I need to find this. It's an accumulation of situations that stem from post-Infinite Crisis Series 52 and Countdown to Infinite Crisis. Oh my gosh. In separate miniseries, it focuses on Flash's Rogues Gallery, the Red Lanterns, and several versions of the Legion of Superheroes. Plus, Barry Allen returns from the Speed Force, and President Superman is given a proper introduction. President Superman is in Multiversity. Let's see here. The main Final Crisis series focuses on the return of Darkseid and his quest for the anti-life equation. Released into the Earth's communication network, most people fall to the new god's commands. It takes 2 Flashes, Barry and Wally West, several villains and heroes, and the death of Batman to end Darkseid's reign. Other than Bruce Wayne's attempt to return to the present, Final Crisis doesn't have an enormous impact as other series. Oh, okay. Oh, no worries. Very sorry about the timing. Aw, Cam. No worries, bye. It's not Crisis the way others... Yeah, I get it. So, like, I guess in terms of definition, just because it's called Crisis, it didn't have the same impact of everything. House of MD. No, this is Multiversity. I'm connecting that to... Okay, hold on. I'm going to read you guys this tonight. Because Supergirl and Flash are actually, like, besties. And I do love Supergirl, CW, and Flash CW and how they kind of did those interactions. Oh, the earlier thing. Oh, no worries. Ooh, the Black Racer. Yes. Yeah, I'm not going to read that storyline. I'm going to read you something that I found. Like, I was reading this in the bath and I was like, holy crap. So I needed to share it with you guys, because just talking about the equations, and we were talking about math theorems, right? And the idea of, you know, there are different ways by which you can meditate or connect with the divine. And for some, math is one of them. Like, my dad is probably like one of them. Like, doing math theorems is like a way of you, like, oh, I'm divinating. Solving algebra problems. Okay. Heroes in Crisis, 2018. An unlikely person causes great sorrow. So let's see here. Earths don't perish and timelines aren't unraveled in 2018's Heroes in Crisis. Rather, the 9-issue series by writer Tom King is considered a murder mystery. Okay. Mass death at Sanctuary, a mental health restoration facility set up by the Trinity. Among those who perish are Roy Harper, Blue Jay, Lagoon Boy, and allegedly Wally West. Okay. Oh, interesting. So apparently Wally West's nervous breakdown caused... I don't like that at all. Okay. So apparently, according to this, the latest crisis is Heroes in Crises. I don't know if you guys know. Oh, hey, hey Pikachu. Thanks for the finger heart. What was your request again, Cam? Let me go back here. I do JWT. I have a little setup for that though. Like a little, like my sister got me a little platform for them. So no worries. I don't trust Kindles or like having electronics near myself in the bath. If you guys, I love Hunter S. Thompson and the movie, you know, like Fear and Loathing, and you know, like Benicio del Toro is like in the bath and he's, anyways, it brings up the funny. Let's see here. The earlier thing, Cam, I need you to repeat that. I don't know if I got that request. Okay, so we're going to go into the flash read, just because hopefully it resonates with you guys, and I'm hoping that it activates something into you, because I was reading this and it tripped me out. So Grant Morrison wrote this along with Mark Miller, right? I like Mark Miller. So Grant Morrison's super trippy. Him and Alan Moore are both very like magical writers. And some of the stuff that is said in the read that I'm going to give you guys, I think is just, it's like, it relates to multiverses in the sense that Flash is the reason why we even have the DC Multiverse, or like the discovery of it, because things always are, right? It's just about, you know, being aware of it. And so I don't see my request, your request, Cam. Please repeat. I think maybe sometimes TikTok too, you guys, censors things, and I don't know why. It's like for weird reasons. So if I don't see it, I try to uncensor it, but sometimes things go by too fast and I don't see it. So Cam, just please do repeat your request. In the meantime, I'm going to get going and read this. I'm not going to read all of it just because I need to wrap up, because I've got to get some stuff done tomorrow for production and video editing stuff too, so that if TikTok is not going to be the only way you can oh, face squishing. Oh my goodness, my dear, I need to get through the read first. Let's see here. I can do a little one though, like that. Okay, so this Flash, just to let you guys know, I don't know if you guys have a favorite Flash, but Barry Allen, I love Barry Allen. I love Barry Allen. Could I talk when I do that? No, sorry, Cam. That's too much for me to focus on when I'm trying to talk about the multiverse. So, I love Barry Allen. I do think that they didn't do a great job in the live action. I don't think Ezra Miller was the right choice to play Barry Allen. I don't know who it would be, but it wasn't a great choice. Now, I wasn't as familiar with Wally West as a Flash, but reading this, I'm gonna have to mute you, my friend. Okay. So, after that point, there's Wally West, and Wally West is actually Barry Allen's nephew, and Barry Allen gives some like sage advice to Wally, and so I wasn't actually familiar with Wally West as a Flash as much as Barry, but he's grown on me, and this story is actually a good one because I don't know if you guys have read this story before, but I'll give you guys some background and then we'll jump right into it. Okay. Okay, yes. I was reading this to my hubby the other day because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so trippy. Okay. Maybe I'll just read it from the beginning. Emergency stop. Oh, sorry. You know what though? I love Marvel too. To be honest though, like the first comic books I started reading were Marvel comic books, not DC comic books. However, I was introduced to DC characters before reading the comic books. So, but like however your gateway, I think it's just a matter of like whatever your pathway is it. I know Wally's he grew on me. Like his perspective on things. He's so smart too. Oh, thanks, Alex. All good. Oh, sorry, Cam. Maybe next time when I don't have a mission tonight. I have a mission tonight to get certain intel out to you guys in one way or another, so that even in the replay, you guys get this read. Because I don't know, like I never knew about this story till I read it, and I don't usually read Flash comics. I only picked it up because I wanted to learn more about multiverses and Flashpoint, right? This concept of like awareness of the other Flashes, and they're like a team. So I'm just gonna, just go into it. So emergency stop. So this guy is the bad guy. It's a suit that's like a haunted suit. So it's supposed to be by this like suit designer guy. Okay, there's a murder mystery. So basically what happens is there's the bad guy called the suit, and it's like a haunted suit that basically absorbs all of the powers of whoever the suit comes in contact with, okay? So now Wally West, he's got a girlfriend, hot Asian chickie girlfriend named Linda, not to be confused with Linda Lee, who's Supergirl, Linda Park, and he takes her to like India and these trips around the globe because they're like, they're on a date. And so when he gets back, this other Flash, they find Flash's dead body from an hour in the future. Now, note that, right? So, in the future, Wally West is dead. And so on there's a note that basically says, "It's Wally. Oh my God, not Wally. Jay, it's all right. Calm down. I don't think it's Wally. Not exactly. Gee, his costume's wet, but we've had no rain for about 2 days. That doesn't mean a lot when you're dealing with someone who can run around the world 7 times in a second, but his watch is set for an hour from now. And here, Wally took Linda to India for a birthday dinner. He asked me to cover for him. I was on my way to deal with some kind of jailbreak when I came across the body. Take a look at this. Good Lord. Dear Flash, you have 60 minutes to stop your own murder. Signed, The Suit. And the Suit is that haunted suit bad guy that I was saying. So, my guess is some kind of time travel is involved here. If this is Wally from the near future, then we still have a chance to stop this. Does this name ring any bells? Vaguely, The Suit. How long has the body been here? How long have we got? About 40 minutes, I'd say. Well, okay, I better tell Joan I'm working. I'll meet you at Wally's in 2 minutes. We'd better hurry. So, Wally West, there's a body from an hour in the future with a note on it saying you have 60 minutes to solve your own murder. It's trippy, right? And then meanwhile, Wally's like laying in bed with his chickie. Ever have one of those weird days? You know, the ones where you wake up and you still think you're dreaming? Me neither. Huh? At least not until today. Max? Jay? What's... Morning, Linda. Joan says happy birthday. Oh, Wally, what's this? It's okay, Linda. Go back to sleep. This is boring superhero stuff. Just let me shave and take a shower, guys. I'll meet you outside. The guy in the blue and white costume, by the way, is Max Mercury, the Zen master of speed. The man in the tin hat is Jay Garrick, the first Flash. So it's really cool because Flash is very much aware of all the other versions of himself. And like they all play together, which is kind of fun. Hey, Ethan, welcome. It's okay, go to... Yes, JWT. Yeah, he's like, I don't think he found out he's solving his own murder yet. He's just like, oh, this is boring superhero stuff, babe. No worries. Quickly, do nothing until another Flash comes to save the day. It's funny. Okay. I don't know if he knows that yet. I think they're going to find out now. So he's like, okay, what do you guys want? Okay. And me, I'm the current contender. My name is Wally West. And I'm the fastest man alive. I'm the Flash. Where to? City Morgue. Did you ever have one of those weird days? What? Fingerprints match. Dental records match. DNA results haven't come back. But the way things are looking, it's you, Flash. I don't know how, but it is you. The autopsy will tell us more, but we only have half an hour. Okay. Let's figure this out. So now he knows that he's basically trying to solve the mystery of his own murder. So he's, okay, we have only like half an hour left because they spent this time just getting to the morgue. Okay, so like this is a different, I don't know if you call them mutants in the DC universe. Metahumans, I guess. But where do we start? Who killed me? I just want to know what you are doing here in my headquarters. Let me see your face. Okay, they're showing here the suit, like the bad guy going out, and he basically picks up people with like minor time travel powers and absorbs their powers for his own uses. Oh, Doubt and Destroy, thank you for that gift. Appreciate it. So we're learning all about multiverses via the Flash. So now, get it off me. Oh yeah, the suit takes him over, takes this guy's powers as well. It absorbs the powers. And they kind of explain as well the origins of the haunted suit, that this tailor used to make superhero suits. I guess like everyone goes to the same tailor if you're a superhero guy, kind of. And so I guess this was like a suit that has like a life of its own. Let me see if I can read some of that. He outfitted a lot of the old superhero guys, but this was his masterpiece. They say he even managed to breathe life into the damn thing. Trouble started when the suit, as it came to be known, fell into the hands of a local psycho called, so it fell into the hands of a local psycho called Del Merriweather. And so kind of like that idea of like, there's the suit, but it's also like who's powering the suit. And so if you have like an evil guy powering it, the suit, even though a superhero guy created it and was like, oh, my magnum opus, my magical suit, it got in the wrong hands and now it's being misused, right? So they tried to burn it. There's no way of destroying it. And so this same suit guy is someone who's figured out how to murder Flash in the future. So Flash is like, okay, I need to figure this out. Do I have any leads here? Now, wait a minute. A haunted costume? Listen, double negative. Or wait. What is this? What was that? Explosion, possibly two, from the city. And then there's an explosion. How to beat the clock. So this is not necessarily what I wanted to show you guys directly. It's like setting the stage for what happens to Wally. Oh, yes. Yes. Let me see if I can read this. Wally, you can't run straight into this. We can't even be sure that this suit is behind the entire threat. Let Jay and me handle this. We have 10 minutes max. It's about to rain. It's him. And we already know he's going to send me back. It happens. It has happened. Don't worry. I think I have a plan. Now I am worried. I need you to get to the morgue, Jay. Don't let them open me up. I think that body in the morgue is still alive. Dun, dun, dun. It really freaks me out when Jay treats me like I know what I'm doing. He was already a legend when I was just a kid. Oh yeah, I've got a plan, all right. All it involves is a headlong rush towards certain death. Oh yeah, no big deal, right? Aw, thanks, Jay Brew, for the tiny diny. Yay. Appreciate that. And so, how come I never do things the easy way? I feel you, Wally. Sometimes you gotta do things the hard way. Flash, when are you going to show your... let me demonstrate a little move that I absorbed. Okay. My Uncle Barry, the second, and in my humble opinion, the greatest Flash. I agree with you, Wally. I love Wally's perspective on things. So my Uncle Barry, the second, and in my humble opinion, the greatest Flash, gave me some advice. Wally, he said, with powers like ours, you have to learn to fight the way a science fiction writer writes. I was like, had my mind blown when I heard that, right? So because the Flash can jump so much far into the future and like time is no object to him, how he has to fight is it's more of like a mental thing, right? Because you're going faster than thought. So you have to be strategic about your moves. So I really love that. With powers like ours, you have to learn to fight the way a science fiction writer writes. He was right. I just hope that I don't let my imagination run away with me this time. Neat trick. I think he just froze me in place. I'm helpless unless my plan has worked. I'm trapped here like a fly in amber. The bad thing is that Earth is still rotating at 400 miles an hour. And now I'm helpless unless I'm as smart as I think I am. This is it. I'm in trouble, but like anyone else in Keystone who's in trouble, all I have to do is hold on, right? And wait for the Flash to save me. Stop right there. He's still alive. What? But there are no signs of... And then he sits up in the morgue. Huh? Brilliant. The boy's brilliant, Jay. It's a time loop. What? It worked. I'm alive. Now I have to go make it work. Max. What's happening here, Max? I think he put his own body into molecular shock. He slowed himself down to the point where he appeared dead. Or he's about to. Ooh, clever trick there, Flash. Okay, I'm alive, which I guess proves my plan worked up to a point. I was sent 12 hours back in time. Everyone thought I was dead, but I wasn't. Wait. Yeah, I was sent timeline hours. Okay, anyways, he was sent back in time, basically. So people thought he was dead, but he wasn't dead. And he figured it out and broke the time loop. And so, which means I deliberately made the suit think I was dead. I have to use his own time gimmick against him. At the very instant he thinks he's killing me, I'm going to slow down my own body down to a point where it appears dead. And then I have to do this fast, so fast neither he nor my past self can see me. Nice plan there, Wally. And I have to do it right before or right in the middle of an explosion. Here's the trick. I counter-vibrate my past self's molecular structure, sending it into a brief coma state. Now he'll be the slowest man alive until the shock wears off and he wakes up a few moments ago in the morgue. Oh my gosh. Okay, I've made it look as though the explosions killed me. I've bought myself the last hour and given myself a headache just thinking about this stuff. Oh my gosh. What a craziness. Flash, how do you, just thinking about that, like trying to create that plan is craziness. Oh, thanks, Tiger Spirit. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit just because I want to get to the point where Flash discovers the Speed Force formula, and I'm going to leave it there for you guys for this late night reading about multiverses. So he basically, there's an ironic point here, right, where he makes the point where he's saying, like, oh, I saved my own life just to, like, put it in danger again. And so you can see here, the suit breaks his legs in, like, a bazillion different places. And he's now in a wheelchair. So let's see here. A few days ago, I came up against a creature known as the Suit, which appears to be some kind of living costume with a grudge against Keystone City and the Flash, right? Just another day in the life, I guess. Anyway, equipped with the power to move objects back and forward through short time periods, the Suit confronted me with my corpse and gave me an hour to prevent my murder. By creating a little time loop of my own, I managed to outwit the Suit and save my life. In the process, I got hit by a chunk of flying debris out of nowhere. I went down pretty hard. I don't remember much, just scenery barreling around me, and it felt as though I'd been shipped through a stone. The impact concussed me, sprained both wrists, cracked 3 ribs, fractured my hip, and broke my legs into jigsaw pieces, which is kind of like, if you're an athlete, like, not a great thing. So now we've got Wally West in a wheelchair. So, my name is Wally West. I'm the Flash. I'm the fastest man alive. Welcome to the war room. It could have been much worse, Wally. We all thought you were dead. So he's basically in a wheelchair, but the Suit, the bad guy, thinks he's dead. So he's formulating a plan with the other Flashes in order to, like, still make a move while using, like, the element of surprise. Yes, his legs are completely shattered. So his friends are going off, fighting the good fight, and he's at home being like, oh my gosh, this sucks. I want to do something. So this part gets really interesting. I can't stand this. I can't stand just sitting around like this. And so it feels like I'm nailed to this chair. I should be moving. Have you any idea what it's like when you can't move? So move, Wally. You said you had an idea. Is this some stupid, dangerous thing? It usually is. I don't know. All I know is that I have to do something. Remember I was telling you about that guy, the Key, when he trapped me and the Justice League in those alternate dream realities? In my dream, I had a suit made of Speed Force, right? So what if I could contact the energy field that gives me my powers, find and somehow condense that part of it around me? So he's trying to contact the realm that holds his Speed Force powers and condense it around him to create an armor. Oh yes. Have a good night, G-Brew. I'm going to wrap up in like 5 minutes. I just want to get to the Speed Force equation. So he's like, I need to do something. So what if I could mold living Speed Force around my body and make super speed armor? And his girlfriend Linda says, then you'd deserve a round of applause, hotshot. But even if you did, your legs are still broken in like a dozen different places. And then Wally's like, but the armor would hold me up, right? Oh yes. Good night, G-Brew. No problem. Oh yes. The late night bedtime read. My buddy the Flash. It's a goodie. So he has this idea of contacting the Speed Force realm, and then bringing that Speed Force down into this realm, condensing it, and having it act like an energy mech suit around him. So I'm just going to get to the point where he figures that out. There's some more stuff that happens. Well, let's see here. I want to end with a bang, this read. All right. I got the idea lying in bed after the accident, so I called Jessie quick. And she told me the speed mantra and her father, or the speed mantra her father Johnny bequeathed to her. And it is 3 times 2, let's see here, 2YZ 4A. Okay, so I'll say like 3 times 2, 4YZ, no wait, 9YZ, sorry. But that's in brackets, so you'd probably do that first, but I don't know what 9YZ means. So 3 times 2, 9YZ 4A. I remember Max saying the formula is actually a mathematical shorthand capable of connecting a human mind, or rather a human nervous system, to a higher dimensional energy field, the Speed Force itself. So it's like this mathematical formula. You say it like a mantra, repeating it. It is a way of contacting the Speed Force itself. I'm reading the Flash comic book as written by Grant Morrison and Mark Miller. So they have some kind of fun ideas with the Flash. So he keeps repeating it. So for 3 days, I've been repeating this formula in my mind and accelerating in place, and suddenly, something's beginning to happen. All of the clocks in the room start to speed up, and I don't know why. Oh yeah, the sound of thunder phases as it reaches my ears. And Linda's like running. He's like, Wally, what's going on? All I have to do is think, tune down the vibration, and let that supernatural aura surrounding me and atoms in. And it's about like controlling vibration. And so it starts to like do something, right? And so eventually, once he does this, remember I told you about math being a form of divination, a way of understanding the universe? He manages to create his Speed Force. So that's Wally West Flash, right? after he does the formula, and even though he's got his legs broken in like a dozen different places, he's able to harness the speed force, which gives him his power, and like wield it in such a way to create an armor. And he's like, I'm here to help my friends, right? The formula or affirmation. So I do these formulas, I activate the speed force. Yeah. And I think there's a tell to that, right? This idea that certain formulas or codes to the universe, if you develop that as a mantra. And remember, he like spent days repeating this formula over and over again. And so I think it's about knowing. Yeah, I think therefore I am, and to know thyself, and to know what words, what songs, what invocations, what mantras are meant for you to unlock yourself, right? And no one has those answers except for you, which is like, I guess, the whole trick of the whole thing, right? How do we derive what the right answer is? And there are multiple right answers. There are multiple pathways up the mountain, but the way that you choose to do that is like up to you. Okay, I gotta go, guys. I've got to get ready for tomorrow. We're going to do some Phoenix Force tomorrow. We're going to go back to Marvel. We're going to actually do some X-Men versus Avengers, because it actually deals with the Phoenix being split between Emma, Cyclops, Colossus, oh my gosh, Magic. Who's the other one? Anyways, it talks about the Force herself, or itself, and this idea of like hosting that energy as well. All right, friends. Oh, thanks, Sarek. I appreciate the crane. All those go towards wishes. Cam, maybe next time, but I gotta run. Okay, friends, remember, it takes true courage for you to be exactly you in this game of life, as beautiful it is. Oh, the Phoenix 5. Yeah, it's in the Avengers versus X-Men comic, because it also talks about Hope Summers, right? And all this fear about the Phoenix, and, you know, this concept of like harnessing power, that kind of stuff. All right, friends, remember, the universe is counting on you, but I have your back. Stay super, my friends. Until next time.